When I was 16, I used to stay up every night with the lights off, scrolling on my phone until my eyes hurt. I'd watch clips of people laughing, dancing, going out, living their lives, and I'd just be there in my room, quiet, still, alone. And I don't mean alone like no one's texting me back. Alone. I mean alone like even if someone did text, I wouldn't know what to say. Alone like I forgot what connection felt like. I didn't think much of it back then. Just thought I was tired, or introverted, or in a phase, but it followed me through college, after graduation, even now. And I know I'm not the only one, so if you clicked on this, maybe part of you feels it too. That weird invisible weight, that quiet panic when you're surrounded by people but you feel like a ghost in the room. This video isn't a solution, it's not advice. It's just me thinking out loud. Talking while playing some old Black Ops. Therapy with kill streaks, I guess. So, loneliness. I feel like that word gets thrown around a lot, but not really understood. Most people think it's just about being physically alone. Like if you go to a party, or have roommates, or you're dating someone, then you must be fine. But it doesn't work like that. I felt the most alone in rooms full of people, at work, in group chats, even during hookups. It's not about being with others, it's about whether you feel seen, whether someone notices when you're not okay. There's this quote from Taxi Driver, right? Travis says something like, "Loneliness has followed me my whole life, everywhere." And when you watch the movie, you see it, how isolation messes with his mind, how not being truly connected to anyone makes him spiral. It's scary, because you start to realize that could be any of us. Loneliness doesn't just make you sad, it rewires your brain. I saw a video the other day that said chronic loneliness activates the same stress centers as physical pain. Like, your body reacts as if you're being threatened, even if you're just sitting on your couch doing nothing. That blew my mind. And it explains a lot, honestly. Like the nights I'd feel this tightness in my chest for no reason. Or why I'd keep checking my phone every 5 seconds, hoping for a notification that never came. It wasn't boredom. It was that primal fear that no one cared if I disappeared. And the worst part, companies know this. That video, the one about how loneliness gets monetized, it hit hard. Dating apps, social platforms, even shopping sites, they all capitalize on that empty feeling. They don't fix it. They feed it just enough to keep you hooked. You're not connecting, you're consuming, swiping, liking, buying, scrolling, hoping that one of those things makes the ache go away. Spoiler, it doesn't. I remember this one night, maybe a year ago, I was sitting in a cafe. It was loud, packed, lots of people talking, laughing. I was alone at this little table by the window, sipping some overpriced smoothie. I looked around, and for a second I thought, if I walked out right now, if I just left without saying a word, no one here would notice. And that thought stayed with me way longer than it should have. It's not that I wanted someone to chase after me or anything. It was just the realization that I could be erased and the world would keep spinning. That kind of loneliness doesn't feel dramatic. It feels quiet, slow, like a dull background noise that never turns off. And what's weird is we're the most connected generation ever. We have group chats, Discord servers, followers, mutuals, FaceTime, you name it. But then you read stats saying Gen Z is one of the loneliest generations alive. And I don't think it's because we don't talk. I think it's because we don't feel safe talking. We joke about being depressed. We make memes about trauma. We laugh at our own isolation. Because being real about it feels vulnerable. And let's be honest, online vulnerability is risky. It can make you look weak, or worse, cringe, especially for guys. There was another video, The Rise of Male Loneliness, and it hit. Most guys don't have deep friendships. We have activity buddies, people we game with, work friends, but not many people we open up to. I realized that during the pandemic. There were weeks where I didn't speak to a single person outside of work. And even then, it was just surface stuff, like, "Hey, how are you? Good, you? Good?" And that was it. No one was actually listening. There were times I'd literally just talk to myself. Out loud. Not because I'm crazy, but because I needed to hear a human voice, even if it was my own. And yeah, sometimes I'd post a photo or a story just to feel like someone saw me, even for a second. And I hate that I did that. But it's true. It's like I didn't want to be known. I just didn't want to be forgotten. Sometimes I wonder if anyone else feels that way, like you're fading, like you're slowly being erased from everyone's mental map. Sometimes I think back to childhood, like back when I'd get home from school, drop my bag, and immediately turn on the Xbox. That was my little escape, not just because the games were fun, but because, in those lobbies, I didn't feel invisible. You'd hear voices, trash talk, laughter, random kids from across the country, and for a few hours, I felt in it. Like I mattered. Even if it was just some stranger yelling, "1v1 me, bro." Now, as an adult, that kind of spontaneous connection is harder to find. Everyone's busy, everyone's tired. And let's be real, most of us don't know how to say, "Hey, I'm struggling, I just want to talk." It feels weird, vulnerable, like we're asking for too much, so we settle for silence, or noise that covers the silence. We play the same YouTube videos over and over, We put on a podcast not to learn, but to not feel so alone while folding laundry. We swipe through strangers on dating apps just to get a tiny hit of dopamine. Like, maybe if someone likes me, I'll feel something again. But half the time, we match and never say anything. Just knowing someone saw us was enough for a few minutes. And then the silence comes back. I don't think we realize how much modern life is designed around quiet isolation. Think about it: self checkout, food delivery, remote jobs, autoplay. You can go days without speaking to a real human being, and no one would notice. That's wild. Even this, me talking to a camera, uploading it into the void, it's a weird kind of connection. I'm not looking at anyone. I don't know who's on the other side. But maybe you're like me, scrolling late at night, headphones in, hoping something will just feel honest. There was this moment a while back. I was on the bus, and this old guy across the aisle just looked at me and nodded, not in a creepy way, just acknowledged me. And that 5-second interaction felt more real than 100 likes on a post. It's insane how low the bar gets when you're craving connection. And here's the thing that messes me up: loneliness doesn't always look sad. Sometimes it looks like hyperproductivity. You fill your calendar so you don't have to sit with yourself. You take extra shifts. You work out obsessively. You start projects you don't even care about. Anything to stay distracted. Sometimes it looks like oversharing online. You post way too much. Or you say something raw just to see who reacts. It's not attention seeking in the way people say. It's more like, please remind me I exist. And sometimes it just looks like numbness. No strong feelings, just autopilot. Days blur together. You're not crying, but you're not laughing either. You just there. I've had weeks like that, whole months where I didn't even realize I hadn't made a new memory. Nothing stuck. It was like living in grayscale. And then, one random moment, something snaps you out of it. Maybe it's a song, or an old photo. Or someone sends a message that just says, hey, haven't heard from you. You good? And it hits you like, oh, I forgot people still think of me. That kind of message. It doesn't fix everything, but it cracks the shell a little. And if you haven't gotten one of those messages in a while, this is me saying it to you. Seriously, you good? I know we've been taught to measure our worth by how busy we are, or how liked we are, or how successful we seem. But none of that matters if, deep down, you feel invisible. Some of the loneliest people I've ever met were also the most together. Good jobs, big social media followings, relationships, and still deeply alone. Because they didn't feel understood, or safe being themselves, or like they could just fall apart in front of someone. And I think that's what we're all really looking for. Not constant company, not endless attention, just one person who sees us, really sees us, and stays, even on the quiet days, especially on the quiet days. You don't need 1,000 friends. You don't need to go viral. You just need one connection that feels honest. One person you don't have to perform for. And if you don't have that yet, I hope you find it. I really do. Because no one talks about how painful it is to move through life feeling like an extra in your own story. Like you're showing up to scenes, saying your lines, playing your role, but the plot's happening somewhere else, somewhere you weren't invited. You deserve to be in the main story, to feel like your presence changes something, that if you left, someone would notice. You're not too quiet, or too weird, or too much. You're just someone who wants to feel real again, and that's not pathetic, that's human. I think that's why I make videos like this, not because I have something deep or profound to say, but because maybe you feel that too. And if hearing me talk about it makes you feel less alone, even for a few minutes, then that's something. Loneliness doesn't always scream, sometimes it just sits with you. At night, on your lunch break, during loading screens, and over time it can mess with your head. Not in some cinematic way, but in subtle, slow, quiet ways. You stop reaching out. You convince yourself no one cares. You start expecting less from people. You become smaller. And look, I don't have some epic transformation story. I didn't go on a spiritual retreat or delete all my apps. Most days I still scroll too much, stay up too late, overthink everything, but I started saying it out loud. I feel lonely. Just those words. And sometimes that's enough to shake it loose a little. Not fix it, just loosen it. And if you're watching this, maybe try saying it too, even if it's just in your head. I feel lonely, not because you're broken, not because you failed, just because you're human. And this world makes it really hard to feel connected sometimes, but you're not the only one, I promise. You're not the only one up at 2 a.m. watching videos just to feel less empty. You're not the only one who checks your phone and feels worse afterward. You're not the only one who pretends they're fine because being honest feels like too much. You're not alone in your loneliness. That doesn't fix it. I know, but maybe it makes it a little lighter. I think part of the problem is that we don't even know how to ask for connection anymore. We joke about our pain. We turn our sadness into memes. We use irony like armor. Like if we act like we don't care, maybe it won't hurt as much. But it still does. Sometimes I'll be scrolling and see a post like, I wish someone would ask how I'm really doing, and it gets thousands of likes. Everyone's silently nodding, but no one's actually reaching out because we're all scared of being too much. Or worse, of being met with silence. And I get that. I've had moments where I finally opened up to someone and they just didn't get it. or they changed the subject, or said something like, "You'll be fine." And I remember thinking, cool, won't be doing that again. So yeah, I've learned to keep things in, to say I'm tired instead of saying I'm hurting, to say I'm busy instead of saying I'm lonely, because it's safer. But safe doesn't heal you, it just keeps you stuck. That's why I started this channel, honestly. Not because I have answers. Not because I want to go viral or become some kind of spokesperson for mental health or whatever. I just wanted to talk like a real person, to say the stuff I wish I heard when I was struggling. And maybe it's messy, maybe it's a little too honest sometimes. But that's the point. Because what if we all dropped the act, just for a minute? What if we said, yeah, I'm lonely sometimes. Yeah, I stay up too late because I don't want to be alone with my thoughts. Yeah, I check my phone 100 times a day hoping someone remembered me. What if that was normal to admit? It wouldn't fix everything, but it'd feel a little less heavy, right? I keep thinking about this quote I heard once. I don't remember who said it, but it stuck with me. Loneliness isn't the absence of people, it's the absence of connection. You can be surrounded by people and still feel hollow. You can be in a relationship and still feel unseen. You can have 10 group chats and still go to bed wondering if anyone would notice if you disappeared. So maybe it's not about having more people around. Maybe it's about being known. And yeah, that's scary. Being known means being vulnerable. It means risking rejection. But it also means being loved for who you really are, not just the mask you wear. And you deserve that. We all do. I'm not going to end this video with some list of things to fix your loneliness. You've probably heard it all before. Join a club, go outside, talk to someone. And sure, those things can help, but I'm not here to give you homework. I just want to remind you that you're not weird for feeling this way. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're human. And being human is messy and confusing and sometimes really, really quiet. But in this weird, lonely internet corner we built, you're seen. Even if we never meet, even if you never comment, I made this for you. So yeah, if this felt like something, if you just had it on while playing or lying in bed or whatever, thanks for letting me talk. And if you want to say something back, the comments are open. You don't have to say anything deep. Just say hey. Sometimes hey is enough. Thanks for listening. Even if you just had this on in the background.